Can you hear me? Cool.
Oh boy, that took time. Can you hear me now? Martin, Mike, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
You can. Very good. Sorry, man. I was trying to get that onto the multi-stream, but for some reason, um, I've messed up on LinkedIn. So we're still live streaming to all the others, but I don't think we're live streaming on LinkedIn. Nevertheless, we are now 5 minutes late, and I'll get going. So good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Startup Product and Tech Q&A. It's our 140th, if I'm not mistaken. I hope it's 140th. Yes, it's our 140th Product and Tech Q&A session. We've been doing these for almost 4 years now. And the idea is quite simple. You see, unfortunately, over 90% of startups fail. And the top three reasons for that are: one, market fit; two, running out of money; and three, not having the right people. So when it comes to that number one reason in terms of market fit, there is nothing more important than building your products and tech, or tech rather, shall I say, and doing it right. We've got some brilliant panelists with us today who will be taking questions on anything to do with your product and tech, whether you want to talk about your product roadmap, your design, your prototype, your testing, your automation, your landing page, your app, your website, your front office, back office, all the way to launching your MVP and beyond for that matter. We're going to be here now for the next 53 minutes. The way we run this, it's quite simple. Those of you that are tuning in via our live streams, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and I'm not sure if we're live on LinkedIn, please be aware that unfortunately we're unable to monitor your questions there live. So you would have to join us interactively here on Microsoft Teams. On all of those live streams, there is a link where you can click, and I believe it's a quick registration, but then you can get onto our Microsoft Teams call straight away. And when you're here, you can then type your question in the chat, and based on that order, I will then give you the mic where you can ask the panelists. We'll do some quick introductions, and then we'll open it for questions. And actually, just before the questions, if my panelists wouldn't mind, to think of some do's and don'ts that are important to them in terms of that early stage journey, that would be great. On the other hand, if your questions today are not on product and tech, please save them for the other rooms, for the other conversations we run. On Mondays, it's talent. On Tuesdays, it's product and tech. On Wednesdays, it's growth. And on Thursdays, it's fundraising. Then on the second Friday of each month, it's legal. And on the third Friday of each month, it's finances. They're all from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time. And you can RSVP to any of them via our site, StartUp2ScaleUp.club. And actually, when you go there, you might want to click on the WhatsApp icon and join our WhatsApp group. There you'll get alerts for all future rooms that we host. One more news just before we do the introductions is that in March, we are going to launch our Startup of the Month competition, where during March, throughout all the sessions, I think there'll be 19 of them, throughout all the Q&A sessions in March, we will feature one female-founded startup. You get to record up to 1 minute. The competition has already started. When you go to our website, you can click on Startup of the Month and just follow the steps there. You need to upload a video of up to 1 minute on a specific WhatsApp group we've created for that, and you'll have all the details on the website. And you need to send in your video by the 21st of February. And then we have 1 week. The video that gets the most likes on our LinkedIn will then be featured on all 19 sessions. Again, it's all on our website, StartUp2ScaleUp.club. Go to Startup of the Month and follow the steps there. Now, without further ado, my name's Anton Call. I'm an Albanian in London, working with startups normally right after they get investment. I embed within their teams and help them hire and keep the right people. I also do some growth advisory work for a few other startups. And lately, I've been helping some angels and family offices with due diligence and assessment. And now, apologies for my delay. We'll go on to Martin and then Mike, please.
Hi, I'm Mark Nectus. I'm a multi-award-winning innovator. I help startups with everything from AI, Web3, crypto, and other next-generation technologies and how to launch award-winning products.
Awesome. I'm Mike. Yeah, I'm a CTO at Riska, which are a fintech startup based in the Nordics, but I also founded a startup studio where we build different B2B SaaS businesses in unique verticals.
That is brilliant. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for that. Now, since there's only two of you, you can take your time. When it comes to early stage mistakes or good things that you've seen and you would rather see more of, what would you say are the top do's and don'ts? Again, we can start with Martin and then we can go to Mike. And by the way, don't worry about repeating stuff you might have said in the past, or about only mentioning one or two. Mention, I don't know, let's say if you can, 3 each. Go ahead, Martin.
Yeah, so basically, the go-to-market is really important. Like, if you don't have like a problem you're solving for a specific group of people, you need to fall in love with that problem. Like, don't give up a day job and say I'm just going to do a startup. Try to get something going, bootstrap it, share your ideas with others, launch something very embarrassing very early on, and don't think that a startup is about like making the perfect slide deck, going to VCs and getting funding, and or making a product and everybody will come. Like, it's a hard job to get people excited about whatever you're doing. So you need to make sure that you have a solution for the right people, and you can easily get to them. Um, and that will take some time. It's not an overnight thing.
Yeah, on the back of what Martin just said there as well, if you are thinking that you can go to a VC just with an idea, unless you're a serial entrepreneur, they're just not going to take much notice of you these days. It has to be something that's a bit more validated than that. So yeah, do's and don'ts are: do get a customer, or what you think is going to be a customer, very close to you very early on. Constantly iterate with them of like what they actually need, not what's just your hypothesis. And then don't build any tech until you've validated that people will actually buy what you're kind of considering. There's loads of things you can do with that. You can create design partner programs so that you're building the right MVP as well. So when you actually go to release something, it's ready to go. But I'd really strongly advise getting close to your customers and constantly iterate with them.
Thank you very much for that. And in terms of any stuff that you've seen going on, well, going wrong rather than going wrong lately, what is some of the worst stuff that you've seen out there, and why do you think it's that bad? Maybe we can start. Yep, go on.
Yeah, sure. I think the biggest thing I've seen is people, it kind of goes back to the original point, but maybe you've already done an MVP, but now you're looking at new features that you want to do, that you have a strong inkling that your customers want, but without talking to them, you spend 2-3 months of actual work, resources, spending money on team to actually build it, rather than just talking to your customers and going, hey, we've got an idea for this. Maybe you can put a little wireframe in front of them. Visuals do definitely help, but it's a lot cheaper to put a visual in front of them than a fully blown product. It's getting easier to put a fully blown product in front of them with AI. So experiment with things like Lovable, New Relic, and Bolt to really build stuff quick, or at least a kind of working front end in that sense. But yeah, really, the biggest pain point is just the waste of time that a lot of founders are doing right now.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Any thoughts on that, Martin? Anything wrong?
Yeah,
happening
we live in an attention economy, and that's not getting any better with ChatGPT. So basically, everybody's trying to grab everybody else's attention. The AIs are now generating a lot of like attention grabbing things. So unless you're working on really something that like you can easily get in front of customers, whatever you build will be in vain. So don't underestimate. Don't think that next feature will solve all your problem type of attitude, or build it and they will come. That's no longer good enough.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. I've put a question in the chat, but I guess a quick reset of the conversation for those of you, especially that are tuning in via our live streams, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. Again, I'm trying to find out if we are able to go live on LinkedIn, and I can't really do that now. But nevertheless, if you're listening via one of our live streams, please be aware that unfortunately we're unable to monitor your questions there. So if you do have any questions on your product or tech, and by the way, there are no wrong questions and there's no need to be shy. It's a learning curve for us all. And your questions today can be on anything as you build your early stage, from your product roadmap to your design, to your landing page, perhaps, or just the entire website, or your app, or maybe your prototype, or launching your MVP, and anything in between or beyond for that matter. All you have to do is join us interactively via Microsoft Teams. What words? Yeah, Microsoft Teams. It's live audio, and on the live streams, there's a link to our Teams call. But if for any reason that's not working, all you have to do is go to our website, startup-to-scaleup.club, look for today's session, which is Startup Product and Tech Q&A 140. You click on that, it's a quick registration, and then you're in. Now, if your questions today are not on product and tech, please then save them for the other rooms we run. On Mondays, it's talent. On Tuesdays, products and tech. On Wednesdays, growth. Thursdays, fundraising. Second Friday of each month, it's legal. And third Friday of each month, it's finances. They're all from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time. Now, I've put a question in the chat room if Martin and Mike would like to have a look at it, but I will read it out loud for those of you that are tuning in via the live streams. And by the way, if you do want to join any of our future conversations, you can either do that via our website, as I said earlier, startup-to-scaleup.club, or when you go to the site, just join our WhatsApp group there, and you'll get alerts to all future rooms that we run, the future events that we do. So without further ado, I'll read out the question. Where was it? Sorry, I've just copied and pasted that from my email. Okay, so I'm a solo founder based in Leeds, working on an app for eco-conscious shopping, aiming to help users find sustainable brands. I've defined a rough product vision, but keep adding new features based on feedback, which is making my roadmap messy and a bit unfocused. How can I clarify my product vision to drive a long-term value without losing flexibility? And what practical steps should I take to structure a manageable roadmap with limited resources? It's a good question, actually. It'd be nice if we had you here to kind of ask back and forths, but I think it's still sort of enough meaty question. Let's see. Mike, do you want to go first?
Yeah, no problem. This is a really, really common problem when it comes to essentially validating what you need to do, but you've done the good steps of getting it based on feedback to start with. I think the big thing here you need to try and do is prioritization. That's your biggest problem, it seems, right now. And the way I'd focus on prioritization is what moves the needle in terms of revenue, and equally stickiness. What I mean by stickiness is what's going to keep a customer coming back to use the application. And then you've got to kind of try and draw the line of how much you need to then just get it out there and get people using it and get more feedback. I think the product vision is you need a holistic, high-level product vision, but that's going to change as you speak and get more customers through. And that's why equally roadmaps aren't necessarily the best way to solve this problem. They almost become obsolete by design because you need to move really quick. So I would potentially, rather than thinking roadmap, think chunks of work and prioritization, and then you're more moving things around based on priority with that revenue and stickiness of a customer, your forefront of your mind, and then just manage that and just know what is enough.
Yeah, no, that's
Thank you.
very
Yes,
well.
Mark.
Yeah, very valid. So basically, it's not clear if the app is already launched or not. If it's not launched, the three things to do is launch, launch,
It
launch.
doesn't sound like that.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, don't add features. Launch first. See what works, see what doesn't work, but like get people using it as soon as possible. And then instead of making a roadmap, one of the easy things to do is to just have weekly sprints with a backlog. You basically determine every week what is it you're going to work on that's going to be delivered, and then like you have possibility to change what you're going to work on every week based on like what you learned, the new priorities. And just as was said before, those things should be focused on user adoption and revenue. So if you add some new features, it's because it will drive more adoption, it will drive more revenue. Don't add vanity features or anything else. Just what's the problem people have with eco-conscious shopping, and how are we going to like solve that problem and generate revenue?
Well, thank you very much to both of you. That was some brilliant stuff. Tom Britton, I believe, has joined us. Tom, would you like to introduce yourself? And then we can see about the next question we have.
Sure. Apologies for being late. I was on the wrong link. Sitting on LinkedIn thinking maybe I got it right, wrong. I'm Tom Britton, co-founder of Syndicate Room. Prior to founding Syndicate Room, I was product manager at trainline.com. So I've always had a soft spot for all things related to product and scaling up. I was very fortunate to join Trainline when it was about 25, 30 people. When I left, it was about 300, and it's gone on to float. At one point was valued at about 2 billion, although I think that's come down. None of that, of course, has anything to do with my work for it. I just headed up the mobile apps development, which was fun. So yeah, now I run Syndicate Room. We do early stage investments into predominantly SEIS and EIS startups in the UK.
Good stuff. Thank you very much for that, Tom. Rightio, Moise, I have now given you the mic. If you'd like to unmute, you've asked a couple of questions, but let's start with the first one. But first, quick introduction, please, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, my name's Moise. I recently opened this company, MoneyLift, which is a budgeting app designed for Gen Zs and millennials to save money, spend wisely, and reach their financial goals. But we're introducing like a sustainability aspect to it. So right now, I'm still in the validation phase. I've been using Lovable for my initial launch for MVP, and I wanted to know, like, for a fast forward, that if you to get how many users do you think that's good for market validation to build a fully developed app and get it launched on the Apple Store and Google Play?
Thank you very much, Moise, and very well done on that. Moise, can I ask you, where are you based, buddy? And do you have any co-founders or a team? What stage are you at?
So right now I'm at the beginning, like really early stage. So I'm based in Kingston upon Thames, and then I'm in the Founder Institute. So basically, I've been networking with some advisors. I have some advisors, and I'm trying to look for like a technical lead that can become a co-founder. Yeah, so I've been advised that don't give co-foundership right away and everything. But yeah.
Are you working with Richard there, Richard Christina?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Good stuff. Richard, I think, is joining us on Thursday for fundraising Q&A. And are you techie yourself, or?
So I would consider myself to be not too technical, but yeah, not as technical as a software engineer, but like yeah.
And what's your background, Moise?
So yeah, I work in credit risk. So
I see. That's where it comes from. Okay. Yeah. And do you think you can push this forward in terms of how long do you think you can keep the lights on? I'm not going to ask runway. I'm saying at least to keep the lights on.
Sorry, what do you mean lights on?
In terms of bootstrapping this, can you take it to market? How long can you go for?
So yeah, that's the thing. So I'm trying to find cost-effective ways of doing it. But yeah, Lovable's it's been great since the time I've been using it. But like further on, I would want to know like what would be the cost, like and like, yeah, how many users should I really validate? Yeah.
I hear. Okay. I will pass you on to the experts. Personally, with B2C, in my experience, you need a few more people to validate it before you kind of have a certain idea, rather than with B2B products. But on the other hand, how long is a piece of string? We often say here that the best time to launch is yesterday, and if you are not embarrassed about your product, then you probably launched too late. But nevertheless, let's hear from our panelists. We'll start with let's start with Mike. Then we can go on to Martin. Then we can go on to Tom. Take it away, please, fellas.
Sure. So yeah, it's a interesting problem and something that's really common of not knowing when to kind of pull the trigger. I would strip it back a little bit and think the bit you need to test is not necessarily a customer. When we say customer, are they paying at this point? Are they a paying customer, Moise?
No, so basically like you don't have to have paying customers, right? But like show like interest in a way that like they're using the app, I guess.
Okay, so I mean, for me at least, I try to always think fairly revenue first, especially whilst you're in this phase, because you know there's only so long that your budget will be able to support customers. So I would approach it more from a how many customers, one, can you get through the door, but equally will give you at least paying signals. And then the big thing you've also got to think about is like how can you reach that customer when you do release the product, right? So you can get it into the App Store pretty quickly. It's just a review process in that sense. But I would think more about, okay, how do I go to market with this so that I can actually get people to the App Store, know who I am, and download the thing. So there's actually a much bigger step there. But if I was going to say a number for B2C, I'd want to have at least validated against 50 people that it's providing real value and that at least half of them would pay for something.
That's a good one. Thank you very much, Mike. Martin, any thoughts on this, buddy?
Yeah, so I could almost walk to you because I'm in Thames Ditton, so very close to Kingston upon Thames. So I have some questions first. So why does it have to be a mobile app, first of all?
So my assumptions are like Gen Zs and millennials are tech savvy, and basically they rather prefer like a mobile app to use. So that's the niche I'm focusing on. I know like a lot of other competitors, they focus on a broad niche, broad audience. So yep.
So the question, the reason why I asked the question is, if you have a mobile-enabled web page, you could basically launch faster than creating a full App Store and Google Play Store app. So is that not good enough? Are there any real reasons you need a full mobile app?
So yeah, like so I've been playing around with Lovable. It is good, but it does have some limitations about scalability. It is a bit slow at sometimes and from what I'm still learning about it, but like from what I can see with Superbase, it doesn't really give you the metrics of like how many users are using the app per day or like yeah, or something like that. But I'm still trying to figure out like learn about Lovable and Superbase and everything. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, because the question is because the problem with mobile apps is that there's a lot of things you need to develop that have nothing to do with your base system. So if you could use other solutions for now that like give you enough, get enough users going, get that traction going, and then only think about the mobile app would probably be more ideal. I don't know if Lovable, I'm not really familiar with what the features are, but there's other solutions that like help with drag and drop type of interfaces, that help with like backend reusability and so on, that bring a lot of the features that you might need, that might be solving it, because the biggest problem with the App Store and the Google Play Store is then you're locked into those two ecosystems that have very specific rules around revenue, around like certain things with financial services, products, and so on. And you might have to add a lot of extra things that you're not ready to. Hence, if you can delay that by making a web-enabled mobile solution first, or use that longer until you really need it. Because until now, you didn't really give me a feature that like you needed.
Basically, Moyes, from what I can understand, Martin's making the very good point that, look, at this point, in startup land, you always have to think about the next destination, not the final journey, because there is no final journey in startups. Therefore, right now, you just need to prove that your idea has got some legs, and rather than spend money in building an app and God knows what, you can do that with a simple, like a Webflow or some other web app. Am I right, Martin?
Yes, and Lovable might have the right things. There's other platforms there that could help you here and there, but it's exactly that. Like, don't like if you tell me, hey, I need some kind of sensor information that only mobile apps have. I need this or I need that. Then I would say, yeah, go and do it. But like at the moment, you could move from like a fully AI-enabled thing to more a drag and drop type of platform, and then keep on going that way. Then perhaps go more into like front and back end development thing, and then finally move the front end to the app. So it could be a progressive thing that you could do. But the biggest question is, do you really need a mobile app? A mobile app, there's a lot of competition. It's very expensive to build one, and you often might be good enough if they can go to a website from the mobile.
Thank you very much for that. Tom, any thoughts on this?
Just to add to that debate, because I completely agree with what was just said, you really only get to do a mobile app launch once. And if you're at the stage where you're still not sure about product market fit, if you don't know if the features that you've developed already are the right ones, or if there's still bugs and gimmicks, and you launch with that, the initial feedback you'll get, if someone does download it in the App Store, is not good, and you'll not get good ratings. And as we all know, the app stores are very much algorithmically driven. So what you want is your launch to get good feedback and good ratings, to kind of, I mean, it's very difficult to shoot up the charts with an unknown app these days, but you know, the more that you can give yourself from that perspective, the better it will be. So I would say stick with that mobile interface until you've got something where you're pretty sure you've got a good chance of hitting that product market fit and you're getting good feedback, and then go to the platform that has more of your audience on it and launch there.
Thank you very much to all three of you. And Moyes, one last thing, if I may. I'm not sure if you've thought about it, but what might be a good idea in terms of that kind of validation side, if you can think of certain partners, or if not partners, but potential partners, or people that basically are already catering to your audience, and here you need to be extremely niche. It may be a good idea to reach out to them and say, hey, Martin, my name's so-and-so, this is what I'm working on, and I'd love to pick your brains over a 20-minute call or coffee, just to understand, you know, with what I'm working, if you think it might be the right offer for what I'm trying to reach. And what happens here it's a few things. Number one, you get to learn from those people that know your audience in a way better than you do, and they've already perhaps encountered some of the issues and challenges that you will, so they can foresee quite a bit. Two, you pretty much half open the door that may be a very good warm lead for a sort of go-to market partnership later on, and it's not a sale anymore. So personally, I would focus on that, as well as, of course, going direct to the customers that you mentioned. But I would make a list of, I don't know, 100 potential companies or people and reach out to them. Start with LinkedIn and whichever other way you can. I'm not sure if you've done that, by the way, Mike.
Yeah, I'm still in the process of doing that. Yep. No, thank you so much for all the advice. It's very helpful and everything.
Good man. Thank you very much, and well done, by the way, on what you've achieved so far. Would love to hear on your progress. So please do keep joining us, and feel free to ask questions, obviously. And if you found any value in this, of course, would appreciate it if you can spread the news on LinkedIn and so on, and just share the event. I guess a quick reset of the conversation. We've got 20 minutes to go. This is Startup Product and Tech Q&A. It's our 140th session. We've been doing these for almost 4 years now, and we actually managed to get over 270,000 people that have tuned in. Because we've lately been changing platforms quite a bit, unfortunately, I think we need all the help we can get in spreading the news. So if anybody is finding value in what's being discussed here, please feel free to share it with your networks. Now, for those of you that are tuning in via our live streams, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, again, I'm not sure if we managed to go live on LinkedIn or not. But please be aware that unfortunately we're unable to monitor your questions there. So if you do want to ask us anything on product and tech, and by the way, your questions today can be on anything to do with that early stage building, whether it's product roadmaps, designs, automation, apps, landing pages, full stack, prototypes, testing, MVP, and anything in between or beyond, this is the place to be. But if your questions are on other matters, please save them for the other conversations we run. Monday's talent, Tuesday's product and tech, Wednesday's growth, Thursday's fundraising, second Friday of the month legal, third Friday of the month finances. They're all from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time. You can RSVP to them via our site, startup2scaleup.club, which probably would also be a good idea to join our WhatsApp group there. You'll see the WhatsApp icon top and bottom of the page, and therefore through there you'll be able to get alerts to all future conversations. We've just launched our startup of the month, which you can find it online on our site as well, and in March we will feature in all, I think, 19 sessions that we have in March, we will feature one female founded startup in all our Q&As. So if you'd like to enter that competition, please do so. But now I think we can go to one more question. By the way, for those that are here on Microsoft Teams, you would need to type your question in the chat, and then I'll give you the mic and you'll be able to ask the panelists. But I'll go and read one more question that was sent in to us. This is from a clean tech founder. She's based in Sheffield. They're pre-seed, renewable energy specialist background. That's the founder. She says, we're building an app that helps homeowners track their energy usage. Should we develop our own APIs for data collection from smart meters, or use existing APIs from utility providers? What are the trade-offs in terms of control, flexibility, and the complexity of integrating with existing energy structure? We can start with Martin, then Mike, then Tom. Personally, unless you have to, my advice is always don't spend money building stuff if you can use somebody else. But let's see what the experts say. Martin, Mike, and Tom, please.
Yeah, so smart meters are not something where you have a lot of openly defined things, because the problem is that a smart meter actually knows if you're at home, if you're using certain things or not. Um, so even if you wanted to develop something on your own, you might not be able to. Second problem with most smart meters is that they tend to be on the cheaper side. They're not like full complex Linux systems. They're just more like boxes with like some minimum things that like use protocols like LoRa and other type of things that like don't allow you to really connect directly to them. So that means that their data is collected by either the utility provider, or in the case of the UK, you also have like a consortium approach and so on. So in general, I'm not even sure you can nowadays develop your own API integrations directly into smart meters. So my recommendation would be try to find out who already has the data and even how you can connect with them. Because connecting to lots and lots, like to millions of people's homes directly might not even technically be possible, because those smart meters wouldn't allow it.
Yeah, that's the
Thank
first
you.
thing that kind of came to my head too, is what can you actually connect to? Because most, at least my understanding of smart meters, most people who have them, they've been supplied by their energy provider and automatically hooked up that way, so you naturally have to. But in terms of the initial question, I'm presuming you've solved that problem. But in terms of the actual question, I would look at the existing providers in terms of those APIs from the utility providers. And if you don't have to use them, then I'd still probably err on the side of use them now, because they'll have done a lot of the groundwork in structuring the data in a certain way that you can consume it easily. And then as your product grows and you begin to find exactly what metrics that you need more, and maybe you want to be more performant, then that is when you'd start to build in-house these things. But I think you may be fairly tied to energy providers for the data collection on that side of things. So yeah, I would honestly just use mainly their things, and then it's a constant iteration of how's the product growing, what are the useful bits that the customers actually want, that might then make you add a data layer on top of that, which amalgamates all of those different concepts into your own structured data, and then you build your API off there. But yeah, I'd start with what exists first while you're figuring out what the customers want.
Just adding to that, I'd be interested to know what you think the utility providers are not providing to the customers with their own apps and interfaces. Obviously, they've got the data, and a lot of them, looking like Octopus and a few others, give you a lot of usage information and even kind of ways that you can improve and or save your energy usage. Just reading the comment and hearing what the others have said, I'm wondering if there is a play that actually helps the providers engage better with their customers on their usage. If we're thinking that the usage data and the service that they're giving isn't good enough, well, then you might be in the right place to do a B2B product instead of a B2C. Because I do think there are a lot of hurdles, as mentioned before, to getting the data from the meters. And yeah, you might be selling to the wrong audience. Not saying you are, but just thinking out loud.
And if I can add,
That's an interesting point. Yeah, go on, Mark.
Yeah, so I've been just looking up. So you might want to check out N3RGY, so energy, but like without the E and with a 3 instead of the
Martin,
second E.
can I ask you a favor, please? Would you mind putting that? So I've just finally, thanks God, I found that we are actually live on LinkedIn. So, and I've tagged all three of you. Would you mind putting that in the comments of that LinkedIn stream, please? But yes, go on, say it now as well, if that's
Yes.
okay.
So basically, the reason why, and I'm trying to see where the comment section is for this one. But like the reason why you want to look at like the energy link that I'll share afterwards is that like the people behind it, Matthew Roderick was the CTO of Smart DCC, which was the company in the UK that installed meters, and they have an easy, secure, and scalable access to energy data from millions of smart and advanced meters. So you might want to take a look at that one.
It's brilliant. Thank you very much. I think all three of you got to answer this, didn't you? Okay, we now have a few more questions, but it would be nice to have you people here live so that we can ask back and forth, and it also makes for a much better conversation. Nevertheless, this is one that has been sent a few times, so somebody quite eager. I'm the co-founder of a consumer-facing social media app in Brighton, and we've seen an increase in unauthorized logins during beta testing. We're concerned about securing our authentication system as we grow to avoid potential breaches. What are best practices for identity management in a social platform context? And would implementing OAuth for third-party logins help improve both security and user experience? Quite an interesting one. This is probably way more technical than I would like it to be. So I'm now going to pass it on to Mike, then Martin, then Tom.
Sure. Obviously, I don't know what they are using already for authentication here, but yes, I think moving OAuth would be one of the better solutions, especially for ease of use of using things like single sign-on in that instance where a customer could use their Google login. You could also just lock down, if you're in beta testing and you don't want people to log in, just disable login access for the other users. You could do something where you do it with IP routing or something like that. But yeah, it's a bit of a hard one to answer without more context of knowing what you already have, because unauthorized logins to me means that someone's been able to authorize with your application who shouldn't have access whatsoever, which to me seems like your whole authentication system is already broken. So I'd start at the basis there. Maybe you're using JWT auth token exchange. Check that system out, but I would just go back to square one, check what you already have, and then implement OAuth on top of that. But yeah, it's kind of hard to know the right route to go. I think there's some debugging to do on your side here of the problem.
Although I'm not techie, I thought some kind of debugging might be a good start. Martin.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my head around what exactly has happened, because you speak about unauthorized logins. There seem to be some type of login, or could it be that it just like is like put your email, get a code, and now log in with that code, and you don't want yet other people to have that? First of all, if that's the problem, it's a good problem to have. It means like more than your base group are interested, and you have some virality going on. So you might want to think in that case, do I really want to block that, or do I want to accelerate it? That might be the first thing. But if it's a technical issue where somebody's able to access other people's data where they shouldn't, then OAuth definitely is a good part. There's an authorization and there's an authentication part here. So you might want to look at the authorization part, where OAuth actually allows other services, other people to access your data. So if that's the problem, then definitely OAuth is the most used standard. If it's also for APIs, that would also be a good one. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with it with using OAuth. You can also use things above it, like social logins type of thing. So login with Google, login with Apple, login with this or that. They use underneath the bonnet or if you don't want to really go and implement it. And then you have like platforms like Okta and others that like implement all of these things. You have some open source ones, Keycloak and so on. That like
are they
implement all
free?
of this.
Okta and these guys, are they free, Martin? Or
So Keycloak is free, but you then have to pay the hosting yourself. It's slightly older technology in the sense it's Java, but it has been really battle tested. So it's very much used. There are some WSO identity things as well. And then Okta are SaaS services, and there's several of those. They charge you per logged in user. So if the number is low, that's still a good option. And then like social logins tend to be free. You have to go through some like sign up process with Google. The easier one is GitHub, but then you're limited to people that have an actual GitHub account. If you want to do Microsoft, it's again a little bit harder. If you want to do Apple, it's again a little bit harder. There's some work to do to get them all
I
working.
hear.
But like they are available. But if you want to have your own social media thing, then having an Okta or Keycloak, you could actually in the future have your own like login with my own social media on other sites type of solution.
I hear. Thank you very much. Last but not least, Tom, any thoughts on this?
I don't think I can add to what's been said in that front. I'm not a security expert, and I think you've got some good advice already. So I'll keep my tongue on this one.
That is brilliant. Thank you very much. We'll go to one last question then, and we'll try and do this quickly. Again, it's a bit tricky because we don't have the person here. But this one, it's a bit technical as well. Nevertheless, where is the chat? Okay, I'll post it here quickly, and then maybe we can. So I'll read it out loud for those of you that are tuning in via LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, and it goes as follows. Our health tech startup in London has a complex infrastructure that's challenging to manage manually. We're considering IAC, which I believe it's infrastructure as something, what's it called? Infrastructure as code or something. Is that right? Maybe Martin and Mike can clarify this. So we're considering using, we're considering using IAC to automate infrastructure setup, but our team is new to it. Could you advise on tools that make IAC accessible to beginners, and how can we structure our code for easy maintenance as we go? Jesus Christ. Right, let's start with, did you say something, Tom? Were you the one that clarified that? Or was it
Not
Mike?
I.
No, sorry. All right. Well, let's start with Mike, Martin, and then Tom, please.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I'd kind of get someone involved, try at least to start getting someone involved who does understand tech. IAC is a fairly common practice these days. So yeah, I'd actually start there of just maybe getting someone in, and then in terms of how can you structure your code for easy maintenance as you grow, that's essentially common practices in engineer lifecycle these days. So this is things like modularity in code, ensuring that if you're on your front end, you use something called dumb components, which is essentially that a component only understands its inputs, and you don't make it over complex. And then you have a layer above that's doing any kind of data computation, migration. Hopefully that's equally done on an API side before it's even delivered to you, because that will help from a speed perspective. But yeah, in terms of making it more accessible to beginners, there's so many different courses. It depends on what provider you're going to use there to really take things forward. But I'll leave it for Martin to take it further, I think.
Yes, Mr. Act.
Yes. So basically, automation of your infrastructure. There's many ways to go. One of the leaders is a scripting language called Terraform. Since they changed their licensing from fully open source to more closed source, you also have OpenTofu, which is basically the same, but like now going in parallel and still fully open source. The other thing to check out is wherever you store your code, there might be specific tooling. So if your code, for instance, is on GitHub, then you have GitHub Actions. What this means is you can tell GitHub that every time that the code is changed because one of your team members did what's called a check-in of new code, that a certain type of actions need to be taken. Those actions actually are defined in code, and they can use OpenTofu or Terraform or other scripting languages to then do actual provisioning of things. You also have like serverless automation frameworks if you're not deploying servers, but like just deploying services on top. Each sort of cloud has their own language as well. AWS, for instance, has CloudFormation. The problem with that is that you then can no longer change from one cloud to another one. So you have to be careful that you don't hook yourself too much into one cloud if you want to change. And then there's other platforms. If you want to really just do some JavaScript type of thing and then get it very quickly up and running, you might look at like Next.js and Vercel as examples. And then the last part, to make it really like maintainable, one of the key things is automated testing. So once you check in something, you shouldn't deploy it. You should first make sure that like everything is tested, it all works before you then make potentially a deployment in like a testing environment. And then you can have a button that says like, okay, we validated and now we can like deploy it into production so the real users see it. And over time, when you feel that your testing is 100%, well, or 90 something percent, validating that everything that was there before is still working, then you can go to full automatic deployments.
That is brilliant. And Martin, can I ask you a huge favor? You are due to join us at the end of the month, and I keep meaning to do this for most product and tech Q&As, because I keep getting this question, and me being the ignorant that I am when it comes to tech, I'm not really able to help with this. But often they ask me about, if I use a cloud today and then decide to go into another one, what are the issues that I need to foresee? And I've seen quite a few, but never from a techie's point of view, either as a kind of non-techie co-founder or as an operator, but never really as a tech person. So if you don't mind remembering that for our next one, and maybe we can go into a bit more detail, I'd really appreciate that, Martin.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. Tom, any thoughts on this?
I think Martin's got it right. That's my thought.
Good one. Okay.
Yeah. It's a little bit like I was cheating a little bit because I've been doing cloud since 2010. So and I worked for Ubuntu, which was the cloud operating system for 75% of workloads. So.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much to all three of you gentlemen. We are now on the line. It's 1 o'clock, which means it's time to say goodbye. But if you're not rushing, perhaps we can hear your parting words. So maybe we can start with Tom, who joined us last, and then we go on to Mike, and then we go on to Martin.
Sorry, can you repeat that, Anton? It cut out on my end.
I'm sorry. Any parting words before we let you go, gentlemen?
Oh, just keep it lean. Keep it lean. Find ways to test. Don't feel like going back to that app one, don't feel like you've got to have the app. There are lots of different ways of testing things. And what no one seems to talk about these days is doing face-to-face with like paper prototypes. I know that's really old school, but there's no tech cost involved in doing something like that. So I would suggest going out and speaking to as many people as you can, just to get that need from them. And And if you start with that and then build, you'll save yourself so much time later on and cost building something that they might not like.
Here, thank you very much for that, Mike.
Yeah, echoing Tom's words, really, just get really close to your customers, do everything that you can to go through validation stages with them and understand exactly what they actually want. And equally, if anyone wants to reach out, feel free to get in touch. Happy to chat. But yeah, thanks for having me again.
Thank you, Mike. Last but not least, Martin, please.
Yeah, so talk to customers, understand what they need, launch very early, some prototypes. Whatever you do there, it's probably going to have to change in the future. So don't care too much about like getting it right, getting it perfect, because you're in a learning stage and you need to make mistakes to then learn what's the right thing. So whatever is cheaper, faster, better, go and do it. And again, if you need help, let me know.
Thank you very much to all three of you. Really grateful for your input and time today. Quick reminder to everybody, if you were tuning in via LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, unfortunately, we're unable to monitor your questions there. So next time, join us live and interactively via Microsoft Teams. You can RSVP to any of our sessions, and you can do that online via our website, startup2scaleup.club. We run 6 regular sessions: Mondays talent, Tuesdays product and tech, Wednesdays growth, and Thursdays fundraising. Second Friday of each month it's legal, and third Friday of each month it's finances. They're all from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time, and you can RSVP to them by our site, startup2scaleup.club. A good thing to do there is also to join our WhatsApp group, and there you'll get alerts for all future conversations once you join. We also have just launched our Startup of the Month campaign. Starting in March, we will feature throughout all our Q&As, I believe there'll be 19 of them in March, we'll feature one female-founded startup in all our sessions and give you the exposure that you need. To enter that competition, you need to go to our website and click on Startup of the Month. And then after March, so from April, then it's obviously open to both female and male founders. As far as my part, I just remember the startup journey can be both exciting but also quite challenging. So try to have some fun in the meantime, and be kind to yourself and everyone else for that matter. Otherwise, have a great afternoon. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow for Startup Growth. Thank you, goodbye, and God bless. Bye-bye for now.